Good morning, guys. It is cold today. I've got a jumper, a jacket, long trousers. Yeah, it's cold, guys. The time is 9:18 and it's Saturday today. I'm hoping I'm going to go and have my breakfast with Kate, and I think that was probably a message on my mobile about it. Right. I made a video yesterday, or should I say I began to. I did it at my local tree museum, and I met so many people who wanted to talk along the way that I lost track of what I was saying and everything else, so I didn't put it up. So I'm going to try and pick up from where I began yesterday. I've worked. Can you hear the rain? It's beautiful, isn't it? I've worked mainly with people for my whole life. And some of the people I've worked with have been young people who have been removed from home for one reason or another. People in secure units, young mothers who are on probation, who are homeless, homeless young people in Coventry, refugees and asylum seekers. Yeah. Quite a wide range of people, and many people for whatever reason need to concoct a story, and I suppose this is especially true of some asylum seekers who basically want to get to the West because they believe all paths are paved with gold, and that there is more chance and hope for their families if they can earn money in this country. I'm not saying that's true of all asylum seekers, and I am not saying whether that is right or whether it's wrong. Most people know where I stand on this. The planet belongs to all of us. There are no boundaries, there are no borders, and there should be no bars. Hey ho. Not everyone will agree with me on that, and that's cool, because difference is what it's all about. Honey, get your beautiful ball. Where is it? Go on. Good girl. Anyway. Now, NLP, when we're working with people who want to change whatever it might be, one of the techniques that we actually use is Movie Maker, and it's making movies in your own mind. And first of all, you will kind of create the story, if you like, and then go through the story, and then what you'll do is to make that into a movie and get all of the detail, make everything bigger, brighter, better, bolder, blah blah blah. And you're gonna let me kick it, honey? You're gonna let me kick it? Whoa. She never lets me get it very far. Or should that be, I never put the effort in to kick it very far. So, when we want someone to believe something, we have to believe it ourselves. And I don't know if any of you have ever cried at a movie, or got angry at a movie, or got emotionally drawn into it, so that, you know, you feel for the characters. Now, the characters aren't real. They're a figment or a fragment of someone's imagination. But the really best movies pull you in, hook you in, and give you detail, but they don't overwhelm you. Human beings can take in or deal with 6, 7 pieces of information, plus or minus 2 at any one given time. So to put in too much detail means that you will overwhelm the listener or watcher of your movie, and that includes you if you're the one making the movie. Now I'm going to talk about asylum seekers, because I guess that's where the movie making comes in, because all of us can tell a tale, all of us can tell a story, and most people won't ask for too much information or detail. It'll be kind of, oh really, and then what happened, oh my word, and then what happened. And as long as the story is fairly basic, you, the storyteller, can keep track of it. But for you to let it flow, like it's not a story at all, it's a real occurrence, like some of the great movies, you do need to be able to focus on detail. And this is especially true when seeking asylum, because you have to present a case. And lots of people that I worked with, bless their cotton socks, you know, when it came down to them telling me their story at the refugee centre, it's so easy to pick holes in a lot of stories, because, and this is what they actually do a lot of the time on the interviews as well, they will ask something totally random that you haven't kind of figured in your story. So let's just say, I remember one person telling me, you know, that they were they made it to Turkey, and then they had to go through this forest, and they had to cross this water, and there was 8 of them all together, because they believed that giving, you know, saying there was 8 of the people would actually make the story more credible. And you know, about how they trekked through all of this, and they were all shoved in this car, I think it was, you know, and they were all squashed in, and it didn't stop, and you know, it went on like that anyway. So you know, it was kind of, what was the river like? And the person can't tell you straight away. It's like they suddenly have to think, oh my God, what was the river like? You know, so it was, oh, well, it was this great big wide river. How did you cross it? Was there a bridge? Because obviously these people know where all the bridges are, and if you've never actually been there, you wouldn't know if there was a bridge or there wasn't. So it was, yes, there was a bridge. Was it a wooden bridge, or was it a stone bridge, or what? And you are asking them to give you more and more detail, and this is what they do on the interviews. You know, it'll be, okay, there was 8 people. Go through the 8 people for me. Did you speak to any of them? Oh, so you were stuck in the car with them for all that time, and you were walking through these forests and everything with them, but you never spoke to them. What were they dressed like? What were they wearing? Then if they say it was freezing cold, and you hear that the woman was wearing this, you know, she was wearing jeans and a jumper or something, it's kind of, how do people keep warm? What colour was the jumper again? And the reason they do this is because if you have been involved in anything, and especially if it's traumatic, if it was something traumatic, you actually remember a lot of detail. You know, I mean, I remember Belgium, for example. You know, I was abducted, I was held, I was repeatedly raped, buggered, you name it, it was done to me. It was, you know, an experience and a half, really. But anybody can ask me any question on that at any point, from leaving my sisters to being, you know, coming across these guys, to what happened next, what was the inside of the shop like that we went to, where was the alcohol. I can tell you everything. I can tell you smells. I can tell you how I felt. And in fact, in the telling, I often might relive some of those feelings, like, you know, and when he came in, a cold shudder went through me. You don't kind of say, oh, and then he came in the door and then he stood there and he did this. You know, you relive it because you have experienced that movie. You have played a starring role in that movie, and you remember detail. You remember the colour of doors. You remember where bolts were and locks and how many there were. You remember how many bars were at the high window that you couldn't reach and look out of. You remember whether it was dirty or clean. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in NLP, if we want to change something, we have to really, first of all, you need to have a well-formed outcome. So that means that it's no good just deciding you want to change something. You need to make sure that this change is actually what you want, and that you will also check the ecology. And you're checking the ecology not only of yourself, but of your loved ones, those around you, your financial situation, how it's going to impact on an ecological level. And to arrive at that, sometimes it's like doing a movie planner. So you will think about what it is you want to achieve, and then kind of see yourself in that position, be observing yourself, all those who are around you. Think about your loved ones, think about your work or your financial status or whatever, to check that the ecology is okay. Because really what we don't want to happen is that we go through a technique with someone and then end up with almost like a tale of the monkey's paw happening, like I want money, 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 and then finding that someone very close to you passes on, physically leaves the planet, and you are left with their insurances or their home or something. Crazy as it sounds, that's how powerful we can be. So, and then when we have kind of worked with the person to create this story, we actually get them to see it through their own eyes as if they are experiencing it, and we put in other things like smells, tastes, textures. Do you know what I mean? It's like I know the texture of the clothing the guys were wearing, for example. Do you know what I'm saying? A soft leather jacket, not a hard leather jacket, black. Yes. So, and when we have done it correctly and we have remembered that, you know, for example, this guy was telling me about all being in this car, I mean 8 of them, and, you know, they trekked for days, and I said, you had a bag at the start when you were telling me. What happened to the bag? Oh, the bag disappeared. Oh, but, you know, a few moments ago you told me that you gave that lady one of the jumpers out of your bag. And it's horrible because you're tripping them up, because if you don't do it, someone else is going to. Do you know what I'm saying, guys? Anyway. So, and the reason that we do all of this is to make it believable, really, to the person who is constructing the story when we're using it as a technique. However, when it is used on us as a technique, in other words, like the movie makers, or, you know, wanting to really make a brilliant, brilliant movie, because they will get you drawn in to sounds and sights and shapes, and, you know, at times they'll blur the edges of the camera, other times it'll be as sharp as can be, There'll be close-ups on certain things and other things in the distance. There will be sounds coming, some beautiful, the music will change, and then other times the music will stop and you might just hear almost like the beating of a very distant heart. And at some level you may wonder if that is your own. And that is exactly why it's done. So when someone wants us to believe, they create this story, and they will take us along on their story, and really they are wanting to draw us in emotionally, because if they can draw us in emotionally, they've got us. I mean, I don't know if you've ever told stories to a group of children, especially like 6-year-olds, wonderful, but they will sit there and their mouths are open and it's just like, oh, do you know what I mean? So when we're being told stories by our governments or people in positions of power, they need to keep going over the same story again and again, repeating it, getting us drawn into it until it becomes familiar to us. Because once it becomes familiar, we actually really believe it. Do you know what I mean? So that even if at the end of the movie that we might be watching, we're told it's not true, we find that hard to believe because we have been so connected with it. Yes. So, that is why, as well, politicians, you know, they have the story. It's usually kind of put up on a auto, whatever they're called, reader or prompter or whatever it is, you know, so that the person is following it. For us, it's believable. I mean, they are being guided with every single word that they say by a teleprompter. But if you then were to, like when I've watched President Obama do his speech about Syria, you know, the way he walks away at the end, that is a huge statement. You know what I mean? Turning his back, walking away, confident through his doors, leaving just his great big symbol thing there on his platform. That really reinforces what he's just said to people who are in that kind of I'm listening to a story, hypnotic, been mesmerised and hypnotised without knowing it state. Yeah, so if you then, instead of him walking away, someone was to say, okay, we've got a loss of preferential index here. You are saying these people. Who are these people? Where are these people? Can you identify some of these people? Tell me a name. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't just keep saying they, we, us. We need that broken down. But the thing is, if someone says we pull ourselves into that and we almost accept what they are saying. We need to do something about this. And because of our connection to groups and packs and, you know, communities, we want to be part of the we. We want to be included. Do you understand? I know you do, guys. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. Because it's probably a lot to take in, but I'm going to tell you next time how you can, in fact, use your movies to enhance your own reality and to create your own story with well-formed outcomes, and after having done a great ecology check to make sure that no one and nothing is harmed in what you want to achieve, the goals you want to set. Right, it's beautiful walking in this weather, absolutely lovely. The ground is cold and damp and very there's no even surfaces anywhere. It's 1 minute you're on stone, the next minute you're on leaves, and then you're on acorns, then it's loose mud, and it's beautiful. And I often wonder, when I look at these cobbly stones, I think, well, what was here? How come all this brick is here? Wouldn't it be wonderful if I brought a metal detector and found a hoard of something? Anyway, right guys, so keep looking up, because the truth is out there, and so are millions and millions I can't tell you the amount of stories I've heard over my life, that when you ask for fill-in or detail, or someone said something early on in the story, like, yes, and she had on a green dress, and then you go back to that later on or a few hours later and say, you know, the woman who was in jeans, what colour were the jeans? And they're thinking, did I say jeans or did I say a dress? Because they haven't made the movie properly. They haven't created the movie in their mind and kind of walked through it frame by frame to know exactly that it was a dress. They said she was wearing a green dress and not, in fact, jeans. I love you all, and I hope this is being useful, because being useful is what it's all about, really, isn't it? Anyhow, I don't like it when I'm totally distracted from all the beautiful things that are around, but I'm able to go for a walk now and have a look and see how many smiley faces I can see on trees. So, from Honey and Debbie and Honey's beautiful ball and my feet and the beautiful Wayne Body Wood, it's goodbye. And keep looking up, guys. Keep looking up. Peace, peace, peace. 3 times magical. Bye.